It's been about a week now since the release of the Z Fold 7 and I've been daily driving this device every single day. And don't get me wrong, this device is a powerhouse. Amazing chip, brand new battery, bigger aspect ratios, screen to body ratios, everything is better. But is it enough to upgrade from the Z Fold 6 to the Z Fold 7? Because there's certain features that's actually better in the Z Fold 6 than in the Z Fold 7. So this is my quick comparison of the Z Fold 6 and the Z Fold 7. And if to see this year's new model is enough to upgrade from last year's model. So let's get to it. So starting off with everybody's favorite, the camera. As you guys know, the new Z Fold 7 has a 200 megapixel camera. It's not the same as the S25 Ultra. I wish it was. It's more close to the new Galaxy Edge 200 megapixel camera, but at least it's an upgrade from the 50 megapixel camera they had for the Z Fold 6. And to everybody, you would think the Z Fold 7 would destroy the 6. But in certain lighting, they're pulling similar pictures. And especially if they're both in the 50 megapixel mode, they look exactly the same. There's not too much of a difference. And with the 200 megapixel, it's definitely destroying the Z Fold 6. Not by a significant margin, but you could definitely tell. It captures better colors, the highlights are better, and the blacks is more true to black. Now from the 2X, these two compare really good. They're not too much of a difference in the 50 megapixel. So some of these pictures you're gonna see it in 50 megapixels, just so you can compare the 50 versus the 50. Obviously some of them are gonna be into 200. This is a 2X, and you can tell the difference here. The blue is actually a little more blue and more saturated in the Z Fold 6, and certain people might like that. But with the Z Fold 7, it looks more true to life. It actually looks more gloomy in this picture versus the Z Fold 6 where it's more blue in the sky. With this 3X, a little more closer, you can see right here, it captures a little more on the birds in front of you. And especially on the ground, you can see a little bit more of a difference. It's a little more sharper, cleaner in the Z Fold 7 versus the Z Fold 6. And you can also see a little further back, the trees is a little more greener, a little more sharper, better looking in the 7 than the 6. This is a little more of a close-up picture of a tree. The Z Fold 6, you can definitely notice in the top, it blew out some of the leaves, so it doesn't look as good. It looks a little more blurry, but with the Z Fold 7, you can actually see it looks more sharp. Another thing I noticed, especially with the ultra-wide, the Z Fold 7 is definitely given a little bit more field of view. It's a little more wider than Z Fold 6. You can see in this picture that's definitely a little more wider. With the Z Fold 6, it looks a little more cropped in. So I'm not a really big fan of that. Definitely in the 200 megapixels, there's no competition. The Z Fold 7 and every single aspect is pulling out better pictures than the Z Fold 6. So one thing that didn't change with both of these phones is the lens flare is a little bit more better in the Z Fold 7, but it's not great. They're both pulling kind of similar pictures here. It's definitely better in the Z Fold 7, I'll give it that, but it's not too much of a difference. In video, they're actually doing pretty good both. I could definitely tell the Z Fold 6 is not good at capturing most of the videos. It jumps a little bit more versus the Z Fold 7. The stabilization I noticed is actually a little more steady thanks to the new sensors on the camera. So this right here is 4K 60, and you can definitely tell that the Z Fold 6 is struggling a little bit. This is the Z Fold 7 in 4K 60, and you can definitely tell the stabilization is better, quality is better, a little more sharper. It doesn't look too distorted versus the Z Fold 6. So this is the Z Fold 6 in 8K 60. It's definitely doing a little more better than the 4K, but the same thing is having an issue here. Some of the colors is not catching it correctly. Stabilization is decent, but you can definitely tell versus the Z Fold 7, it's a whole different game. It definitely looks sharper, keeps more of the blacks, more blacks. The colors is a little more true to tone, a little more accurate. Not like the Z Fold 6, a little more saturated. You can definitely see in this video that the Z Fold 7 is miles ahead from the Z Fold 6 when it comes to video. Now, I didn't want to add this, but I'm going to add it just because it is a feature in the Z Fold 7 that the Z Fold 6 did not have. So there's a feature called log. So it captures the video in not the best quality just to keep the sharpness, keeps more detail, and then you can put the colors back into it. And when I mean, there is no comparison. That's a feature that you'll see in the S25 Ultra because their camera setup is better, is a bigger sensor, captures more light, the color's a little more better. But to have it in a foldable log, that's actually amazing. Now, one of my favorite upgrades this year is the size difference. With the Z Fold 6, we went from a 6.3 inch outer display and a 7.6 inch inner display to 6.5 outer display and an 8-inch inner display, making it feel like a more traditional bar phone. And that's definitely a significant upgrade. I know for a lot of people, they hated the narrowness from the Z Fold 6. This form factor is what I wanted this whole time. Both of these models feature the dynamic AMOLED 2X display, with 120 hertz. So the quality in both screens are kind of the same. What I can say is with the Z Fold 7, with the inner display, it crops in a little more. So you see a little bit more video with the Z Fold 6. But besides that, both of these are punching out beautiful colors. Both phones is gonna give you amazing quality, especially when you're watching videos, YouTube, whatever you guys do throughout the day. If you're a Netflix enthusiast, the pictures is just gonna look amazing with both phones. So let's talk about speakers. One thing that I did notice that actually bothered me a little bit, so with the thin form factor of the Z Fold 7, I feel like the speaker took a hit. With the Z Fold 6, it sounds a little more louder, a little more punchier, and a little more bassier than the Z Fold 7. So take that as you may. Both phones are still loud, they're still good, but take a listen here and you guys tell me if you can hear the difference. So let's talk about the all-new Hinge and the Z Fold 7. You guys know that the Z Fold 6 had a big problem with their hinge. It broke. I did not drop it. I checked on Reddit, like I said in one of my prior videos, and not a lot of people had this problem. There was a couple that did have this problem, but they dropped their phone. I did not drop mine. But Samsung didn't give me too much of a hassle. I got a new phone in less than a week. But it gave me a little doubt on how good the hinges are with foldable phones. There's an all-new Hinge in the Z Fold 7. But what I don't like about it, it's that with the Z Fold 6, you can open it in any level, but with the Z Fold 7, you can't. As soon as you get almost open, it springs open. And also, I know a lot of people are complaining about the crease. Yes, there's a crease in the Z Fold 7, but it's not as much. You can't even feel it. You can definitely see it. When I first got the phone, the crease was there. Not a lot. You couldn't really notice it, but the more you open and close it, it's definitely gonna get more refined. It's a foldable phone. It's obviously gonna get the crease. Not as much, but it's definitely a big difference coming from the Z Fold 6. Right off the box, the Z Fold 6 had a major crease and the Z Fold 7 did not. So when you're outside and using the phone in direct sunlight, you can definitely see the crease a little more in the Z Fold 6 than the Z Fold 7. You can see it in both, but it's a little more obnoxious in the Z Fold 6. Just a little bit of food for thought there. Now let's talk about multitasking. With both phones, you can multitask, have multiple windows open. You can have Netflix, YouTube while texting. For me, I like to do my script. With both of these phones, they don't break a sweat. They're both amazing in multitasking. So talking about not breaking a sweat, let's talk about the whole new chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy. Obviously, you guys know this new chip is a powerhouse. But with my comparison with both phones, both of them performed amazing. With the Z Fold 6, there was no hiccups. It was straight. I never got any problems with it. The only problem I did have was actually with the Z Fold 7, not the 6. Because with this whole new thin form factor of the Z Fold 7, they took away the vapor chamber. Even when I was out taking pictures and videos, the Z Fold 7 got a little bit warm, not too hot. Same thing in gaming. It got a little warmer than the Z Fold 6 because the vapor chamber is gone. But it wasn't hot. It wasn't a significant difference. It was a little warm. The Z Fold 6 got a little warm, but not as much as the Z Fold 7. But both of them performed good. And especially with more power-hungry games. Also in Zenless Zone Zero, that's a tongue twister. Zenless Zone Zero. Zenless Zone Zero. Zenless Zone Zero. Whatever. In Zenless Zone Zero, both of them performed amazing as well. Now the weight size between these two phones is definitely significant. Coming from 239 grams to 215 grams from the Z Fold 6 to the Z Fold 7. That's 24 grams lighter. You can definitely feel the difference. One thing that I hated from the Z Fold 6 is how bulky and it felt a little heavy in my pocket. What the Z Fold 7 is definitely thinner. It feels like a regular phone in my pocket. So let's get more into detail of the inner display. I know a lot of people are mad about the digitizer layer that they took off, so you can't use the S Pen functionality in the inside of the Z Fold 7. But from what they reviewed, and a lot of people didn't buy the Z Fold 6 S Pen case. I mean, I had it. Even with that, I didn't use it a lot until I started doing YouTube. I started using it more to do my script, and it was a little more handier. So now I definitely miss it. But since I've been daily driving the Z Fold 7, it's a thing of the past. I don't even realize that I had an S Pen in the Z Fold 6. So it's not too much of a big of a deal how everybody's painting it. Also, the UDC is gone in the inner display. And that's one thing I am a little bit frustrated about because I never really used the camera on the inside. It wasn't really a thing. So the under display camera didn't really bother me. I like how flush and clean it looked in the Z Fold 6. Now you get a punch of the Z Fold 7. But I haven't really noticed it like that, but it's there. So I'm gonna go buy a little rant right now. There's no way I'm paying $2,000, a little over $2,000 for a phone that doesn't have flagship cameras. I know that they're trying to separate the flagship away from their foldables, especially their S series. But come on, Samsung, $2,000 and the only thing we got was a 200 megapixel camera. That's not even the same as the S25 Ultra. It's a little more smaller. You guys could definitely fit more cameras in the back of that phone. I don't care if it's a little more thicker. Give me the best cameras. And we definitely should have got an upgrade from the 25 watt fast charging because that's not enough. I plug in the Z Fold 7 at like 10% or 15% and almost in an hour, it only has it to 60, almost 70%. So it's not that great. And for $2,000, we definitely should have got an upgrade for that. Should have got the anti-reflective coating that's on the S25 Ultra and the Z Fold 7. I know they have that screen protector. I have it on. It definitely doesn't work that good. And as we know for the S25 Ultra, the anti-reflective coating is definitely in another league. One thing that it's a little gripe for me is holding the phone when it's open with both phones is actually a little more comfortable holding the Z Fold 6 versus the Z Fold 7 because the Z Fold 6 actually was a little more wider and it had flat edges, so it sat on my pinky because I kind of like lay it on my pinky when I have it fully open. But with the Z Fold 7, it's kind of a little bit round in the edges and it kind of falls over or tips over a little bit. I dropped it before on myself, laying down, not on the floor. But it's a little more tougher to hold. It's not too much of a big of a deal, but it just felt a little weird holding it one-handed in the beginning with the Z Fold 7. Another big thing that both phones have that I don't really use a lot, so I'm not gonna really talk too much or get deep into depth with this, but the AI aspect, the Z Fold 7 has something the Z Fold 6 doesn't have. It'll be their new update in a couple months or so. And I know every phone nowadays is like AI this, AI that. Until I see it, it's a little more convenient for me using it with certain apps and certain applications. I have, but it's not there yet to me. Now, do I think with all these upgrades, you should upgrade from the Z Fold 6 to the Z Fold 7? Yes. You get a 21:9 aspect ratio. It feels like a regular phone now. The inner display is 8-inch long. UDC is gone. There's no more S Pen for certain people. That's a downer. Reason why they won't upgrade. But with everything that you get with the Z Fold 7, it's everything most consumers have been asking for the past couple years. So that's my quick comparison. So I'm gonna see how this phone holds up for the next couple months. You'll see more videos, keeping up to date with this new phone. And if you guys like this video, hit a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you guys can be notified as soon as I post a new video. And if you guys are new here, I'm Jose, just a guy who loves tech. And I really want to know your thoughts about the Z Fold 6 and the Z Fold 7. And comment below if you guys upgraded or thinking about upgrading. And also comment below what's your favorite feature of the new Z Fold 7. Till next time, guys. Peace.